On pole position for the third round of the GPM1 season for the Canadian Grand Prix, it is Charles Rainford, the man that has won the opening two rounds of the season. He looks to make it 3 for 3. Alongside him on the front row is the pole sitter from GPM2. Just goes to show how impressive his qualifying lap was. Antonelli lines up second. Third place on the grid goes to Charles Leclerc, a known expert in qualifying for Trackhouse Racing, lines up in the third spot. Fourth place, highest starting position for a Panfera Autosport driver, it's Oscar Piastri, lining up there just ahead of Lewis Hamilton, qualifying in fifth position for Brawn GP. Sixth position goes to the Nexus Racing driver of Lando Norris. He lines up just ahead of his teammate George Russell in the seventh position. Carlos Sainz in eighth spot for Fast Formula Racing as they look to try and get another double points paying position at the end of this race. Behind him in the ninth spot, it is Yuki Tsunoda for Repsol Peugeot, with Max Verstappen rounding out the top 10, our winner from the GPM2 race. Keep an eye on him to be making his way forward. Second of the Trackhouse Racing cars, it is Scott McLaughlin in the 11th position, with the second of the Fast Formula Racing cars lining up in 12th, that is Nico Hulkenberg. 13th position goes to Sergio Perez in the second of the Bronze, whilst the second of the Panfera Autosport cars, Pascal Wehrlein, lines up in the 14th position there. 15th goes to a Fingal Motorsport car, and it is the entry of Kyle Kirkwood, outqualifying his teammate Pierre Gasly. This time out with the third driver coming up from GPM2, Jack Aitken, lining up just behind him. In the 17th spot, it is Pierre Gasly, disappointing qualifying effort from the Frenchman, with Carson Hocevar lining up in 18th position, and a man that has been on the podium in both of the opening rounds of the season so far, crashed in qualifying and starts 19th, that is Colin Turkington. He has got his work cut out if he wants to try and get a third podium in a row and keep his second in the championship position alive for now. The revs rise as the lights come on, and we are racing and underway here for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's Rainford that lead us down towards turn number 1. Antonelli trying to do what Verstappen did to him in the GPM2 race, but he's going the wrong direction. It's Leclerc trying to take second place from the Italian, and he's going to do just that. Antonelli dropping a place on both starts here in this weekend. Norris up into 5th spot and immediately looking to the inside there of Lewis Hamilton for 4th position. Not quite able to make that move happen. Piastri looking to try and fight back around the outside. He's lost a couple of spots on this start. Behind them, Russell 7th, with Sainz now attacking around the outside for Fast Formula Racing. Gets a little deep though, and Russell's going to re-pass him on exit into this next right-hander to make our way towards the long back straight, where we expect most of the action to happen today. Russell just fends off Tsunoda there. Verstappen in 10th spot still. McLaughlin dropping a couple of positions down into 13th position. Perez 14th. Wehrlein going in the wrong direction there, 17th spot for him. Behind him, Jack Aitken also with a rough start, not looking good for him. Turkington slowly making up a few positions, but it is Rainford that leads the way ahead of Charles Leclerc. The lead has not changed at the end of the back straight as they came through Cliffside Corner. It is still Rainford that leads the way into the final sector of the lap. Antonelli right on the tail of this top three. All three of these drivers look like they've got the pace to challenge at the front. Norris and Russell on the tail of Hamilton look like they might have a little bit more speed than the Brawn GP entries. Piastri dropping 3 positions on the start there, not the direction he was hoping to go in. Felt like perhaps a slight overperformance from him in qualifying, and so far it seems like that could be the way it went as Wehrlein and Aitken come into the pit lane. Wehrlein, another pointless race for him, likely on the cards as Jack Aitken gets his first GPM1 start, but it's not going to be a fruitful one. He finds himself in the pit lane at the end of lap 1. Turkington on the back of Gasly as they head down the main straight. He's getting 3 spots on lap 1, looking to try and make it 4, maybe even 5. He can get a run on Sergio Perez into turn number 1. Will he get that move done? Gonna force Perez to go a little bit wide of the apex. Gonna get the speed up the hill, through the climb, back down into the fall. And it's Turkington up in 14th position. Let's have a look at what happened on the opening lap here. Coming into the cliffside corner, we've got Aitken on the inside of Wehrlein there. Looking for a move, not quite able to commit to it there. Going to have to stay in behind the German driver as they come off the corner. Gasly up ahead, not with the best of exits. Going to bunch this group of cars up just a little bit here. And as they head down into the next corner, it's a little bit too late on the brakes there for Jack Aitken. He hits the back of Wehrlein. Wehrlein runs wide then and damage to both cars. Likely a puncture for Wehrlein and front wing damage for Aitken there. as the battle for 4th place is on now. Lando Norris, we know they have got some incredible race pace in that Nexus racing car, and he's going to go to the inside of Hamilton into turn number 1, and he will get that move done. Surely, unless Hamilton can brave it around the outside, he thought about it, but not quite able to commit. The Nexus racing car able to carry that bit more speed. Norris into 4th spot. Next up for him to try and pass will be Antonelli for a podium position, and it looks like he's not going to wait around for it, as Antonelli going in the wrong direction at the moment, as Russell also making moves here for Nexus Racing. He is on the back of Hamilton. Looks like he had a bit more speed coming down the straight there, but Hamilton matching him as soon as he popped out of the slipstream there. And just ahead it is Norris to the inside of Antonelli. Final spot on the podium. Is it going to exchange hands? Antonelli going a little bit wide there. Hamilton even wider. That's going to let Russell through. And Antonelli will lose the spot on exit as well. So Norris up into the podium positions we saw in the Japanese Grand Prix. That Nexus Racing car has the pace to challenge for victories. Can it find a way past the top 2 though? That is the big question. Hulkenberg has got ahead of Verstappen there in the battle for the final point playing positions. Piastri has lost a further 2 spots, now down into 9th position, as Russell tries to make it 2 Nexus GP cars in the top 4 positions here. Nexus are in a pretty comfortable second in the constructors position at the moment, but they want more than that, and for now it looks like they're not quite going to have enough to do much more than that, with Rainford in the lead, but nonetheless a position gain for Russell will do a world of good for them, as Tsunoda gaining more positions up from his starting position. The Japanese driver moves ahead of Lewis Hamilton into 6th position. Sainz next up behind in this battle here, as the Repsol Peugeot drivers are powered by the Nexus racing engine, as is Charles Leclerc's Trackhouse racing car, although branded as a Chevrolet. Hamilton next up, he has a BMW powered car behind him. Carlos Sainz, customer West Sussex racing engine in the back of his car, and you can see the difference it's going to make as they head into Cliffside Corner. Carlos Sainz to the inside. You can see when the race pace is put to the test, these cars with the customer engines and the factory engines just seem to have that little bit of an edge over those that are doing it themselves, which is sort of its own category at this point. They are putting up a good fight each week, but it seems those with the big name engines are a step ahead in performance terms at this stage. Turkington, meanwhile, up 8 positions in this race. Next up will be on Piastri. The only team in GPM1 yet to score points this season is Panfera Autosport, and as Piastri drops to 11th position, 7 places dropped from the start, it looks as though that isn't going to change here today. That car seems like it was massively outperformed of where it belongs in qualifying. Piastri, an outstanding job, but it is now fading back quickly here. They have to hope that on a track that suits their car just a little bit better, they can maybe get some more out of it here. Tsunoda is going to be next to try and find his way past one of our top GPM2 drivers. Antonelli fades to 6th position, Tsunoda in to 5th spot, trying to reel in the top 4, but I fear they may have broken away already in this one. Antonelli down into 6th spot. Sainz next up behind him for Fast Formula Racing. Going to have a run here, the Spaniard versus the Italian, as they head towards Cliffside Corner, and it is going to be the inside line, and Antonelli unable to put up much of a fight at all there against him, as Turkington has cleared Hulkenberg for 9th position. Next up will be Hamilton, not quite able to do an entry there, but we've seen corner exit here being so crucial, and Hamilton does run it a little bit too deep. Turkington with the switchback underneath him, and he's going to be able to power up the hill, but Hamilton bravely fighting him off there. Wonderful stuff from Lewis Hamilton. He fends off Colin Turkington, something that not many people have been able to do in this championship previously. Turkington, 9th place still, has a lot of positions to recover if he wants to keep his podium streak up and running. He's not going to wait too long though for the pass on Hamilton as they head down towards turn number 1. This is where that extraordinarily powerful West Sussex Racing BMW car makes its move up into turn number 1 through 2 and 3. Turkington into 8th position. This is where the West Sussex Racing car is at its strongest. Its factory BMW engine is just a step above the rest, and well, a few steps above the rest, quite frankly. Nexus Racing, the only manufacturer that comes anywhere near them, and again we see at the end of the straight, that is where they're making the moves. Turkington through into 7th position. Next up for him will be Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, for Fast Formula Racing, just holding on at the moment, but it's not going to last long, as despite having a customer BMW engine, it is a much more earlier development specification of the engine, so not quite the power levels that the factory team have, and it's not going to be quite as powerful come at the end of the straight there. Currently Kirkwood in that 11th spot, just outside the points, looking for his first point, I believe, in GPM1. Piastri has now dropped down to 13th position. He just will not be able to stop the bleeding the way things are going at the moment. Next up for him Looks like McLaughlin and Verstappen on his tail. Sorry, Verstappen's already gone through, so it will be McLaughlin next up to try and make that pass happen as Hamilton sits in the 10th spot at the moment, but it's not looking like he's going in the right direction here at all. The Brawn GP team do have points on the board already this year, but it looks as though Kirkwood, with that power, is going to have the advantage into turn number 1, and makes the move there for Fingal Motorsport, side by side through turn 2. Hamilton has put up a fight before. This time he can't quite do it though. Kirkwood moves through and into 10th position. Can he get his first point of the season? Out of the tunnel turn there, he looks comfortable, although will that last? As you can see, Hamilton on his tail on the final lap of the race here is going to keep the pressure on as Verstappen's in the mix as well, looking for his first points in this top category. He's battling with his old rival Lewis Hamilton, and he gets the pass done for 11th position. Now can he take advantage and get that position away from Kirkwood? He's got just under a lap to do it in. Pressure will be on here for him, but up at the front of the field, our leaders are heading towards the cliffside corner for the final time today, and Rainford, with his superior power, has been able to keep his rivals at bay, but only just. They're still right on his tail. You have to say both Leclerc and Norris have looked quicker than him today. Look at how close they've been able to follow, but with the power of that West Sussex Racing engine, they have not been able to get past, and that has been the deciding factor here through the final few corners for the final time here today. Just 2 corners now separating Rainford from a 3rd consecutive victory to start the season. He has 2 poles, 2 wins to his name. Is it going to go to 3 in that 2nd category? It's looking likely here as they head out of the final corner now. For the final time, West Sussex Racing are going to keep the streak alive. Charles Rainford is going to go 3 for 3 to start the first ever season here in GPM1. Rainford wins his 3rd race in a row. It's Leclerc in 2nd, Norris in 3rd position. Turkington will not keep up his podium streak though, and West Sussex Racing will at least lose some points in that matter, as behind George Russell in 4th position, a little bit wayward of his teammate Norris. Looks as though he's there in the fight, so is Leclerc. These 2 drivers can win races, just not today it seems. As side by side off the final corner here, Turkington trying to get Tsunoda on the run to the line. It looks as though Tsunoda is just going to hold on to this position, and he will do just that. Turkington recovers 13 positions in that race, so nearly 14, but not quite able to do it in the end. A defensive drive in the end for Charles Rainford, holding on to the victory, less than a second ahead of Charles Leclerc. As I said, it seems like the 2 cars behind him may have been that little bit quicker, but they could not find a way past. It seems that power was what you needed here today, and that is exactly what Rainford had underneath his right foot. Leclerc 2nd, Norris in 3rd place. Double top 4 finish for the Nexus Racing Team. Tsunoda in 5th for Repsol Honda. Turkington double top 6 for the West Sussex Racing Team, but by their recent standards, that's a disaster, quite frankly. Only 6th position for Turkington. He may well lose 2nd place in the drivers as things stand. Sainz is in 7th spot. Antonelli faded back to 8th after starting on the front row, with Hulkenberg and Kyle Kirkwood rounding out the points. And I believe that is Kyle Kirkwood's first point of the season, with a 15th and a 16th so far to his name. He finally gets a top 10 recorded for him. And Fingal Motorsport have 2 drivers now who have scored a point this season. Gasly with 10 points to his name, Kirkwood now with 1 as well, so not too bad for the American outfit. Next time out, we are going to Deep Forest Raceway for the Swedish Grand Prix, another track that in theory is not too dissimilar from this, although quite a bit smaller, so perhaps we shall expect something similar. Maybe. Can these drivers that appear to have that little bit more in race pace, can they out-qualify the West Sussex Racing cars? Can they put themselves ahead? Even if they can't out-qualify them, can they jump them on the start? Can they do something to put them out of line? Because we've seen here today that once Rainford gets out front, and I imagine it's probably going to be the same for Turkington, if they can get ahead, they're so hard to pass. They just have so much power, and that seems to be what's making the difference at the moment at this stage of the season. After that, though, we go to the British Grand Prix a couple of weeks later, and that will be a low downforce track, which whilst you'd think that would suit the West Sussex Racing cars and their power, they're actually quite a high downforce car, so it seems that that's the sort of the balance they've taken, so maybe the aerodynamic package of their car won't suit the Goodwood Raceway quite as much, and maybe that could be our first chance to see them beaten, if they're not beaten next time out in Sweden. Make sure to tune in then in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for watching. Till then, goodbye.